Hi and welcome to the Azam Shop channel. I'm your host Mohammad Azam, and we are going to check out the UIRefreshControl, and this will be a small screencast since UIRefreshControl is pretty simple to set up. So UIRefreshControl is actually included or in the iOS 6 framework, and what it lets you to do is refresh your UITableView when you pull to refresh. Okay, so let me show you. Well, I don't really have an example yet. We are going to build on it, but if this is your table view, and in Twitter apps and in Facebook apps and most of the apps that you see which are quickly updating, quickly receiving data, especially Twitter, and you do kind of like this, like pull down to refresh, you will see that the refresh button or icon goes over here, and then it goes and refresh or gets some new data from the server or from Facebook or anywhere, And before iOS 6, there were a number of ways of doing that. If you go on GitHub, you can actually download many different libraries from there, which is like this one, MS pull to refresh controller, and it actually goes on and on. So you can actually, you can do that. But of course, in iOS 6, this is kind of now built into the iOS 6 framework, and so that is what we are going to do right now. Okay. The first thing you need to do is you need to add a table view controller, and I have actually already added a table view. This will only work if you are using the UIRefreshControl. Will only work if you're using a table view controller, because that is a property on the table view controller. Okay, so this is my table view, and if you go ahead over here to see the class of this controller is customers view controller, which I've already added, and customers view controller inherits from the UITableView controller. So I'll get all the cool stuff of the UI view controller. Okay, now UIRefreshControl is not really part of the text, this toolbox, so you cannot really drag and drop and attach to it, but it's also not very difficult since it only requires a couple of lines of code. As you can see, I can actually create a refresh control over here, and we're going to create a simple refresh control. It takes only a couple of lines of code. So here's our refresh control, UI refresh control, and then we can simply say refresh control and add target. So target will be on self. The selector in this case will be the method that will actually be fired. So I'm simply going to say refresh control value changed, and this method is not yet implemented, and this method will be actually be the method that will be fired when you pull to refresh. Okay, for events I can say UI control value changed event, and the final thing you need to do is to do self.refreshControl equal to the control that you have made, refresh control. Of course, self in this case is the UITableView controller, and that is what I was mentioning before, that if you want to use the UIRefreshControl, then you have to make, or you have to use the UITableView controller, because it's a property on the UITableView controller. I'm going to say void over here because now we are going to implement this particular method, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what you need to do to get the functionality of your the pull to refresh functionality or the refresh control functionality in this particular method, which is refresh control value change. And of course you can name it anything you want. You can go and fetch data from the server. You can do anything that you want, and then finally when you're populated it, you can call self.TableView reload data, so that it reloads the whole table view and refreshes the table view with the new content. So I'm going to just run it now, and if you see now that now we have that same, the refresh control is already added, and if I go ahead and refresh, it's going to say over here fetching data or fetch data from the server. And that's all that is, that's pretty much all that you need. You're going to make a call over here to fetch some data. I'm pretty sure that I have explained that in one of the previous tutorials, one of the 40 tutorials, and you are free to go over there and check it out. One last thing I like to mention is if you go to azamshop.com, this is my website. I have released my app. It's called Vegetable Tree, and it helps you to basically plant a garden. All right, and actually I have added some new features. The new version is on the Apple App Store, and got some good ratings over here. Okay. And if you want to support this show, if you want to support this screencast, support Azam Shop channel on YouTube, which I'm pretty sure you do, then buy this app. And then if you buy this app, then also, write a review, rate it, write a review. And in the end, it's going to be beneficial for you if you're interested or even not interested. If you just want to support the show, then, you can go ahead and buy my app. It's called Vegetable Tree, and it is available on the App Store. That's it. Thank you very much, and thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.